If you were born between 1959 and 1964, you are part of a group economists call the peak boomers. You have spent the last 40 years working hard, paying your taxes, and playing by the rules of a game that you were told would guarantee an honorable retirement. But as we stand here in the early months of 2026, the harsh reality is that 30 million people in your exact position are about to hit a financial wall so hard that the impact will ripple through the entire global economy. This is not a drill, and it is not a distant prophecy. The youngest members of your generation are turning 61 this year, and the clock is ticking louder than ever before. Every single morning in 2026, you are losing $185 just to keep your Medicare Part B coverage active before you even buy a single gallon of milk or pay a cent toward your mortgage. The system you relied on is failing, and the three-legged stool of retirement planning has not just been tipped over, it has been set on fire. If you find this information important for your future, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel to help us spread this message to those who need it most. Also, please share your thoughts in the comments about when you plan to retire, as we love hearing your stories. To understand how we got into this mess, we have to look at the massive betrayal of the American worker that started decades ago. For a long time, retirement was simple because it was built on a guaranteed pension. You showed up for 30 years, you did your job, and the company took on all the risk of making sure you had a check every month for the rest of your life. But in the 1980s, the corporate world realized they could save billions by shifting that entire burden onto your shoulders. They introduced the 401k and sold it as empowerment, telling you that you were now the captain of your own ship. What they did not tell you was that they were handing you a compass you did not know how to read and putting you in a vast ocean of market volatility. Most people are not professional fund managers, yet the system expected you to master compound interest, asset allocation, and complex tax laws while raising a family and working full-time. The companies knew that most people would fail to save enough, but they simply did not care, because the liability was no longer on their balance sheets. They replaced a lifelong guarantee with a market-based gamble. Wall Street became the primary beneficiary of your labor, collecting fees while you prayed the market would stay green. Fast forward to today, and the data from the Federal Reserve shows a terrifying picture for the median household in 2026. More than half of all peak boomers have total retirement assets of $250,000 or less. To many, $250,000 sounds like a comfortable cushion. But the math of our current economy tells a different story. If you follow the classic 4% withdrawal rule to make your money last for 20 years, $250,000 only generates $10,000 per year. That breaks down to just over $833 per month. Now, let us add the median Social Security benefit, which is roughly $1,900 a month. That brings your total monthly income to about $2,733. At first glance, that might seem manageable. But let us look at the silent killers lurking in your budget right now. As of 2026, healthcare has become a massive black hole for retirees. Between your Medicare Part B premium of $185, your Part D prescription coverage, and a standard supplemental plan, you are looking at nearly $400 a month disappearing before you even see a doctor. If you still have a mortgage, or if you are renting, housing costs in this inflationary environment will easily take another $1,200 to $1,500. Suddenly, you are left with less than $800 a month for food, utilities, transportation, and emergencies. This is the definition of the new retirement poverty, and it is happening to millions of middle-class families as we speak. The official government numbers say inflation is under control, but if you go to the grocery store or pay a utility bill, you know the truth is much darker. The prices of basic necessities have far outpaced the cost of living adjustments provided by Social Security. This means every year you stay retired, your purchasing power is being eroded by a hidden tax that you cannot escape. You are seeing shrinkflation at every level, from the cereal box on your table to the level of service you receive from your bank. And here is the part that no one in Washington wants to say out loud. Social Security is heading toward a massive cliff in the year 2033, which is now only 7 years away. If Congress does not take drastic action, the law dictates an automatic 21% cut to all benefits across the board. Imagine trying to survive on your already tight budget with 1/5 of your primary income suddenly vanished. The reason this is happening now is because the boomer wave is no longer a trickle. It is a tsunami. The ratio of workers paying into the system compared to retirees taking money out has collapsed to a point where the pay-as-you-go model is broken. Back in the 1950s, there were over 8 workers for every 1 retiree. Today, that number has dropped to nearly 2 to 1. The math simply does not work anymore, and the politicians are too afraid to tell you that the party is over. You are also facing something called sequence of return risk, which is the ultimate nightmare for anyone retiring in 2026. If the stock market has a major downturn in the first few years of your retirement, you are forced to sell your assets at a loss just to pay for your groceries. This can deplete your account so quickly that you may never recover, even if the market bounces back later. Think of it like a plane taking off. If you hit a storm right as you are leaving the runway, the chances of a crash are much higher than if you hit that same storm while you are already at cruising altitude. The financial industry does not protect you from this, because they make their fees whether you win or lose. Wall Street fund managers are getting paid to manage your assets, not to ensure you have enough money to buy medicine when you are 85. The system is designed to harvest your wealth, not to sustain your life. Furthermore, we are seeing the rise of the silver tsunami in the housing market of 2026. As millions of boomers try to sell their homes at the same time to fund their retirement, we are seeing a supply glut that is suppressing property values in many suburbs. The home equity you thought was your ultimate safety net might not be as liquid or as valuable as you once hoped. But there is a way to fight back and regain control of your future, even if the system feels rigged against you. One of the most powerful moves you can make is what experts call the Rule of 70. Every year you delay claiming your Social Security benefits between age 66 and age 70, your monthly check increases by 8% for life. This is a guaranteed inflation-adjusted return that you cannot find anywhere else in the financial world. If you can find a way to work even part-time for a few more years, you are essentially buying yourself a much higher standard of living for your later years. Waiting until 70 could mean the difference between struggling to pay rent and having enough to actually enjoy your life. In 2026, the gig economy has evolved to offer many opportunities for seniors that do not require physical labor. From remote consulting to digital specialized services, you can leverage your 40 years of experience to bridge the gap until 70. Another essential strategy is the bucket method for your savings. Instead of keeping all your money in the volatile stock market, you should have at least 2 years of living expenses in a cash bucket. This ensures that if the market crashes next month, you do not have to sell a single share of your portfolio while prices are low. You can simply live off your cash and wait for the recovery. The second bucket should hold 5 years of expenses in safe bonds or fixed income. Only the third bucket, meant for money you will not need for 10 years or more, should stay in stocks. This structure provides the psychological peace of mind that is missing from most 401k plans. It allows you to sleep at night, knowing that your immediate survival is not tied to the daily fluctuations of the NASDAQ. You should also seriously consider strategic downsizing before you are forced to do it by a crisis. Many people are sitting on a house that has doubled in value, but is also costing them a fortune in taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Selling a large family home in 2026 and moving to a more efficient property can unlock hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity. That equity can be turned into a reliable income stream that pays you every single month. This transition is not a sign of failure. It is a tactical move to ensure your independence and protect your legacy. In fact, some boomers are looking at international relocation as a way to stretch their dollars. In 2026, the expat retirement trend is exploding as seniors find that their Social Security check goes 3 times further in places like Portugal, Panama, or Vietnam. While moving abroad is not for everyone, it represents the level of creative thinking required in this new era. We must also talk about the rising cost of long-term care, which is the greatest threat to your inheritance. The average cost of a private room in a nursing home is now exceeding $100,000 a year in many states. If you have not planned for this, a few years of medical care can wipe out everything you worked 40 years to build. Looking into long-term care insurance or asset protection trusts is no longer optional for the middle class. It is a necessity to prevent your life savings from being seized by the healthcare system through Medicaid estate recovery. You worked too hard to let a few months in a facility drain your children's inheritance to zero. We are living through a massive renegotiation of the American social contract. The old rules that worked for your parents no longer apply to you. Hoping that the government or your former employer will just figure it out is not a financial plan. You must be proactive, you must be informed, and you must be willing to make the hard choices today so that you can live with dignity tomorrow. The psychological shift is perhaps the hardest part. You grew up in a world where hard work was always rewarded with security. Acknowledging that the system has changed is painful, but it is the first step toward survival. Do not let pride or nostalgia keep you anchored to a sinking ship. Take an honest look at your numbers. Talk to a fee-only financial advisor, and start making adjustments while you still have the leverage of time. In 2026, the wealth gap is widening, and those who do not adapt are being left behind. You have the resilience and the experience to navigate this storm if you stay focused and disciplined. You have seen recessions, market crashes, and political upheavals before. You know how to endure, but this time, endurance requires a new set of tools. Stop listening to the mainstream media that tells you everything is fine. They're paid to keep you calm and invested in the very system that is draining you. Instead, start building your own localized economy. Connect with family, reduce unnecessary debts, and prioritize liquid assets. The road ahead is challenging, but you do not have to walk it alone. Please let us know in the comments if you found these strategies helpful, and tell us what you are doing to prepare for the 2033 cliff. Are you planning to work longer? Or are you looking at moving to a more affordable area or even abroad? Your insights could help someone else in our community who is feeling overwhelmed right now. Thank you for watching, and remember that knowledge is your best defense against the coming storm. Take care of yourselves and your families. Stay vigilant and keep building your own safety net. We will be here to provide the data and the strategies you need every step of the way. Good luck, and stay strong in the face of these changes. Your dignity in retirement is worth the fight. Do not give up on the dream, just change the way you achieve it. We are standing with you as we navigate the uncertainties of 2026 together. Thank you for being part of this movement for financial truth. Goodbye for now, and stay prepared.